Lena was only 7 years old when she first saw him. The tiny, shivering puppy curled up under the bench at the playground. His fur was muddy, his ribs slightly visible beneath his skin, and his big brown eyes, filled with sadness, locked onto hers. It was the beginning of something neither of them could have imagined. Lena's heart ached. She had always loved animals, but her parents had never allowed her to have a pet. They said it was too much responsibility. Yet, in that moment, as she crouched in front of the trembling pup, she knew she couldn't just walk away. "Hey, little one," she whispered, stretching her hand toward him. The puppy flinched at first, but didn't run. He simply watched her with a mix of fear and hope. Lena reached into her pocket, pulling out a small piece of the sandwich her mother had packed for her lunch. She gently placed it on the ground, a few inches from the puppy. Hesitant, he sniffed the food before carefully taking a bite. A small wag of his tail made Lena smile. Over the next few days, Lena visited the playground every afternoon, bringing whatever food she could sneak from home. She sat with the puppy, talking to him about school, her favorite books, and the silly jokes her grandpa told. Though he couldn't answer, he listened, his tail wagging more each time she appeared. One day, after a week of these visits, Lena found the puppy curled up in the exact same spot, but something was different. His breathing was labored, and his small body shivered uncontrollably. Panic filled her chest. She couldn't just leave him there. With trembling hands, she scooped the tiny puppy into her arms. He was lighter than she expected, his little frame fitting perfectly against her chest. Running as fast as her legs could carry her, Lena raced home, her heart pounding. She burst through the front door, tears brimming in her eyes. "Mom! Dad! Please help!" she cried. Her parents turned, startled. When they saw the fragile puppy in her arms, their expressions softened. Lena's mother knelt down, gently touching the puppy's damp fur. "Oh, sweetheart, where did you find him?" "At the playground. He's been there for days, and now he's really sick. Please, we have to help him." Her father sighed but nodded. "All right, let's get him to the vet." Lena had never felt so much relief in her life. They wrapped the puppy in a warm towel and rushed to the nearest animal clinic. The vet examined him carefully, explaining that he was malnourished and had a mild infection, but would recover with proper care. "Can we keep him?" Lena asked, her voice barely a whisper. Her parents exchanged glances. "Taking care of a dog is a big responsibility," her mother said gently. "I know," Lena said, her eyes pleading, "but he needs us, and I promise I'll take care of him." After a long pause, her father smiled. "All right, but on one condition. You have to be responsible for him." Lena beamed, hugging her father tightly. "I will, I promise." Over the next few weeks, the puppy, now named Toby, grew stronger. He transformed from a fragile, scared stray into a playful, loving companion. He followed Lena everywhere, his tail wagging wildly whenever she was near. One evening, as Lena sat on the porch with Toby curled up beside her, she whispered, "You saved me too, you know? I never realized how much I needed a friend like you." Toby looked up, his warm brown eyes filled with nothing but love. He placed his small paw on her lap, as if to say, "I know." As weeks passed, Toby became a part of the family, but Lena soon learned that having a puppy was harder than she had expected. Toby chewed on furniture, knocked over flower pots, and once even tore up her favorite book. Each time, her parents reminded her of her promise. "Lena, you have to train him," her dad said. "He needs guidance, just like you do when learning something new." Determined not to disappoint her parents, Lena started reading about puppy training. She learned how to teach Toby basic commands, rewarding him with treats whenever he obeyed. Slowly, he began to understand, and their bond grew even deeper. One afternoon, Lena took Toby to the park, where he happily played with a ball she had brought. Suddenly, he stopped, his ears perked up. Before Lena could react, he bolted toward the street. "Toby, no!" she screamed. A car was speeding toward him. Lena's heart stopped. She ran after him, but before she could reach him, a man, a jogger who had been nearby, dashed forward and scooped Toby up just in time. Lena burst into tears, hugging Toby tightly. "You scared me." The jogger smiled. "You've got a brave little pup here. But be careful. Dogs don't always know danger." Lena nodded, realizing just how much responsibility she had. That night, she held Toby close, whispering, "I promise I'll always keep you safe." As Lena and Toby grew inseparable, an idea formed in her mind. She had found Toby alone and scared. How many other animals were out there just like him? With her parents' permission, she began volunteering at the local animal shelter. She helped feed the dogs, played with them, and even read stories to the shy ones who were too scared to come out of their kennels. One day, an elderly woman visited the shelter, looking for a companion. She was drawn to a quiet, older dog named Max, who had been overlooked by many visitors. "He's perfect," the woman said with a smile, petting Max's head. Lena felt a lump in her throat. Seeing Max find a home filled her heart with warmth. She realized that helping animals wasn't just about rescuing them. It was about finding them the love they deserved. Years passed, and Toby remained Lena's most loyal friend. Through every challenge, every joy, and every tear, he was there. He had started as a lost, lonely puppy, but had become the best friend Lena could have ever asked for. As Lena sat on the porch one evening, now a teenager, she hugged Toby close. "You changed my life, little guy." Toby, now a little older, wagged his tail, resting his head on her lap. He didn't need to speak. Lena already knew what he would say if he could. "And you changed mine too,"